93.5, Mid-Maine's home for True Oldies. Good afternoon, I'm Steve Colella, and in the studio with us today is Brad Farrin. Brad, you're running for state representative in Madison, Norridgewock, and Solon.
That is correct, Steve.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
I guess probably the one question everybody wants to know is what prompted you to throw your hat into the race?
Well, after retiring from the Maine National Guard last October, I still felt a need to serve. I had to step down as captain of the Norridgewock Fire Department several years ago because of my military commitment, but I feel that giving back to the community is very important, and this is an opportunity to do that.
One of the issues that you've been very outspoken on is question 1, the bear referendum. Where do you stand, and why do you think the way that you think?
Well, I'm opposed to it, and I'll be voting no, and let me tell you why. There are many people in our district that rely on the bear hunt for their livelihood, from the taxidermists to the guides, butcher shops, licensing agents. Is too important to the economy in the region to vote any other way. You know, Mainers have a long tradition of outdoor sportsmanship, and I believe in the advice of our wildlife biologists and our game wardens.
Another issue that you've been hitting hard on in this campaign is the issue of welfare reform. You say you stand for common sense reform, but what does that mean?
First of all, let me say that there are those who need the help the state provides in our district, and no one's suggesting that we take that away. You know, Mainers believe in helping each other out, but I believe that welfare recipients should be using that money in the best way possible. And things like cigarettes, lottery tickets, and alcoholic beverages aren't the best way. In addition, those funds should not be used out of state. And I truly believe that if we can get those reforms underway, there'll be more resources for the people that truly need it.
You served 29 years in the Air Force and the Air National Guard. Why does it give you an edge when it comes to veterans and the problems that they face?
You know, my 29 years serving in the United States Air Force and the Maine Guard is a privilege that, you know, I'll always be thankful for. I got to travel around the world and work some of the greatest men and women this nation has to offer. And looking out for those great Americans and trying to solve the unique challenges and problems will be my privilege. You know, having been the senior enlisted airman in the state and having taught nationally, I'm familiar with the process, the agencies, and the resources available to help all veterans. And I plan to bring that to Augusta.
The economy in the central part of our state is really, so to speak, very lukewarm. That's if you put some spin on it. What do you think should be some steps we should try to take to improve things?
Well, the thing that speaking with small business owners throughout our district is energy costs. You know, they can control a lot of their day-to-day operating costs, but the one that they have no control over is energy. The bills come in the mail and they have no reaction but to pay them. So I really think we need to look at increasing access to the natural gas reserves we have as well as hydropower. The other thing, we need to work with our young people to give them the skills that employers are looking for so that they have the opportunity to continue to stay here and live and work in central Maine.
Let's take a look at some specific items that came up during the last session of the legislature. First of all, military recruiters in our schools. And tell me how you and your opponent differ on that issue.
Quite honestly, my opponent opposed LD 1503, which was an act to ensure that students had access to post-secondary military options. And her quoted rationale was that anytime someone wears a uniform, that can signify power. Well, for me personally, it was an Air Force recruiter 30 years ago that changed my life in the way that it turned out. And I'd like to thank Master Sergeant retired John Doucette for that. I do agree that the uniform can signify power, the power of the United States, and it's something that I feel strongly about, and it's just another clear difference where we differ on the issues.
You are new to politics, but what's been the best and worst experiences on the campaign trail?
The best, without a doubt, are the people. Hearing their challenges, their concerns, but also their accomplishments, from the young man that just opened a new small business in Norridgewock, and you talk to him about, does he have a business plan, how he's going to make it work, and trying to put him in touch with resources. The World War II veteran in Madison that was at D-Day, or the young logger up in Solon that's running a pumpkin stand with his daughter and teaching her the values that I think that we all hold dear. It's just been remarkable. The bad, simply put, the politics. The money that comes from lobbyists and PACs and everything else is quite honestly sickening. Bangor Daily News just had a thing in the paper the other day that they're spending like $19,000 to defend this seat. I got a thing in the mail the other day about my radical social agenda, and I just kind of shake my head.
On health care, Medicaid expansion, do you support or oppose, and why?
I opposed. I support what the governor did as far as not expanding that. We just paid off a $500 million debt to our hospitals that was due in large part to the last time we expanded Medicaid. And I don't think we want to do it again. We need to find efficiencies in the system. Continuing to throw money at a problem is not a solution. Folks, we're $17 trillion in debt as a nation. That's not our money. It's not our kids' money. It's our grandkids and our great-grandkids' money. And we got to do something about it.
Summing it up for us, Brad, why should District 111 voters support you?
I'll go back to where I started. I want to serve. I'm not a politician. I really want to be a public servant. And for all these things that we just talked about, I'm optimistic. I really believe that Mainers, if given an opportunity, will excel and will succeed. In whether it's reaching across the aisle, not beholden to those PACs and lobbyists, or even to a particular party to do what's best for the citizens of District 111. I want the opportunity to serve them.
One last thing in closing, is there anything else that you would like to say?
Thanks to all of the people through this process. It's been an eye-opening to me. I've learned a lot, and I've made some great friendships. And get out and vote on Tuesday. That's the only way that we continue to this great nation and state that we have.
Okay. Brad, I want to wish you good luck at the polls on Tuesday, and that's about all I can say.
Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate
all right,
it.
Brad. Thank you very much. So, as Brad has said, please go out and make sure you vote. It's your privilege. It's your right. And if you want to see change, the only way change will happen is if you make change happen. If you don't vote, then it's just as good as letting things go the way they are. Up around the corner, we've got more of your favorites on the way, so keep it right here at 93.5 True Oldies.